Tottenham's amazing start to the season got its fans fired up, hoping they could finally win a trophy this season. With Ange Postecoglou's revolutionary tactics, Tottenham are now a fun team to watch for the first time in a very long time. And should this continue, not only are we going to talk about the Spurs as a top 4 prospect, but maybe even as title contenders. How exactly did this come about? And why has the now popular Ange Ball changed this North London club so much? Just 6 months ago, Tottenham's future seemed grim, as they ended up in 8th place in the Premier League, reflecting a turbulent season where both Antonio Conte and his temporary replacement Christian Stellini were dismissed. Not to mention how several key players didn't meet expectations, one of them being star striker Richarlison. Harry Kane was one of the few who performed well, scoring 30 goals once again. However, Bayern Munich was quick to express interest in the English captain, making his departure seem inevitable. Reports suggested that several top-notch managers such as Julian Nagelsmann and Luis Enrique rejected the chance to replace Conte, which ultimately led Tottenham to choose Ange Postecoglou. And while the former Celtic manager had been highly successful in Scotland, his initial appointment didn't do much to improve the atmosphere at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Initially, Postecoglou wasn't the high-profile name Spurs fans were anticipating, and his limited experience at the highest level caused concern. However, he has since proven to be the perfect leader for the club's exciting new chapter. A promising pre-season displayed Postecoglou's readiness to introduce an innovative, attack-minded style that maximizes the potential of Spurs' key players, and he also successfully brought in several new players who align with his approach. When Kane's move to Bayern was confirmed just before the season started, a fresh wave of optimism swept over North London, one that hardly anyone suspected of holding any water once the season began. There are several key reasons why Tottenham are good this season, or at least have started the season very well. Let's take their last match against Luton, in which Tottenham claimed the top spot in the Premier League with a hard-fought 1-0 victory, thanks to Mickey van der Ven's early second-half goal. This victory was bigger than usual because Yves Bissouma received a second yellow card just before halftime, leaving his team with a man less on the field. What's evident is that last season, Spurs might have struggled in a match like this. However, the players are now fully committed to Postecoglou's vision, and he senses a unified effort from everyone. But this is not the only reason as to why Tottenham have an advantage over City and Arsenal this season, and we will delve into that later on in the video, so stay tuned. After the game, the Spurs boss commended the players, emphasizing how they've embraced the team's new direction, and he highlighted the tight-knit bond among them, not only in their victories, but also in their admirable resilience. The players are determined to alter the course of the club, and they're demonstrating this on the field. Under Conte, Nuno Espirito Santo, and Jose Mourinho, Tottenham tended to be cautious and relied on counter-attacks, and they were happy with sitting back and winning games with narrow margins, often at the expense of entertaining their supporters. Since Postecoglou's arrival, this approach has changed, as he now encourages his players to express themselves and take risks even when under pressure. Tottenham now deliberately invite opponents to press them, consistently showcasing their ability to play through it, and this strategic shift has led to an increase in goal-scoring opportunities. In their exciting 2-2 draw against Arsenal in the first North London derby of the season, Postecoglou's distinctive style was on full display. Tottenham dominated the latter stages of the game, aggressively seeking a winning goal, and one memorable sequence featured a 9-pass move initiated by goalkeeper Guglielmo Vicario, which sadly culminated in Pedro Porro's cross being deflected for a corner. Throughout Postecoglou's tenure, Spurs have been a sheer delight to watch. Summer signing James Maddison acknowledged the manager's instilled belief in the squad after the Arsenal game, stating that if they lose while playing Postecoglou's way, it's ultimately his responsibility. I have to admit that this mindset could potentially propel Tottenham to great heights. Maddison has truly shone as the standout player for Spurs in the new Postecoglou era, and since his £40 million move from Leicester City, he has seamlessly filled the number 10 role. The England international boasts an impressive record of 2 goals and 5 assists in his initial 8 Premier League appearances, with his most recent standout moment occurring against Luton. Only the very best players can conjure something extraordinary from seemingly nothing, and Maddison's creativity has brought a new dimension to Tottenham's attack, and he has created more chances than any other player in the Premier League this season. He also appears to have taken on a leadership role, and Maddison's performances are motivating those around him to elevate their game, fostering an exceptional team spirit. The former Leicester player has seized the opportunity to excel at a larger club with enthusiasm, and appears to relish every moment. Spurs made another significant investment of £43 million, or $52 million, in Dutch centre-back Van der Ven, which is also paying off, at least for now. The 22-year-old has immediately left his mark on English football, displaying a level of maturity beyond his years, and he's forged a strong partnership with Christian Romero, which has greatly strengthened Tottenham's defence. Last season, Romero, who was recently hailed as the world's best defender by Argentina teammate Lionel Messi, often found himself exposed due to the inconsistent performances of Eric Dier, Davinson Sanchez and Clément Lenglet, and this led to a high number of conceded goals for Tottenham. But Van de Ven complements Romero perfectly. As former Spurs and Liverpool midfielder Danny Murphy noted after the Luton game, Tottenham had long been searching for a central defensive duo that provided both composure on the ball and stability off it, and now they've found it. Van de Ven and Romero are forming a genuine partnership, setting the foundation for Tottenham's play. With Van de Ven in the lineup, it's become notably tougher for opposition teams to breach Spurs' defence, and despite his imposing stature, he surprises with his speed, making him a formidable opponent in foot races. Additionally, his physical presence allows him to triumph in most one-on-one physical battles. When Van de Ven carries the ball out of defence, it's a sight to behold. His smooth movements are complemented by exceptional passing abilities and astute decision-making. Occasionally, he even contributes goals, as demonstrated by his impressive improvised finish against Luton. What's even more intriguing is that Van de Ven is just scratching the surface of his potential, and it will be interesting to observe his development under Postecoglou as the season unfolds. We cannot talk about Tottenham without mentioning their main man, Son Heung-min. He and Kane formed a prolific partnership, scoring 47 Premier League goals in 8 years, which is a record, and Kane's all-time top scorer status was aided by Son's spontaneous assists. Now, with Kane gone, Son has seized the spotlight, and Postecoglou even named him captain. Son is perhaps the only Spurs player who hasn't surprised anyone this season, as he is expected to score goals and is scoring them, netting a brace in the North London derby and scoring his 6th seasonal goal against Liverpool, and Postecoglou credited the team's style for suiting Son. Son's goal-scoring prowess and technical finesse make him a strong contender for another Golden Boot, as Spurs' system under Postecoglou fits him perfectly, and he has embraced his role as the team's focal point. Surprisingly enough, without Kane, Tottenham is thriving, largely thanks to Son. Last season, Spurs rarely utilised fullbacks, as Conte favoured a 3-4-3 setup. However, Postecoglou has highlighted their significance since taking charge, and under the Australian coach's 4-2-3-1 formation, both left and right backs push up and inward during attacks, which transformed Spurs into an ultra-attacking 2-3-5 configuration, reaping plenty of rewards so far in the 2023-24 season. Destiny Udogie, acquired for £20 million or $24 million, has been a standout on the left, as the former Udinese talent's transition from Serie A to the Premier League appears seamless, and his speed, strength and proficiency both offensively and defensively make him a valuable asset. On the other side, Postecoglou has alternated between Pedro Porro and Emerson Royal, who struggled in the previous season. However, they have redeemed themselves, particularly Porro, who relishes the chance to contribute more in the final third. Udogie and Emerson have embraced Postecoglou's approach, making Spurs the most captivating team in English football. And the manager emphasised his desire for exciting and talked about football, not just the end result, but also the manner of play. Right now, the fullbacks are setting the tone, and opponents are yet to find an effective way to contain them. After the Mauricio Pochettino era, Spurs have experienced some promising spells that ultimately proved to be false starts. Mourinho led Tottenham to the top of the league in November 2020 with a 2-0 win over Manchester City, and Conte's side had their best season start in 59 years in 2022-23, accumulating 23 points from their first 10 games. However, what sets this period apart is that Postecoglou has Tottenham playing vastly improved football. They approach each game with the sole focus on securing a victory, and there's a newfound fighting spirit within the group that was notably absent in previous years. It remains to be seen if Tottenham can genuinely challenge the likes of City and Arsenal for the Premier League title, but that should be their aim, as both of them have more demanding fixture schedules, giving Postecoglou's team a notable advantage. Unlike previous seasons, Spurs aren't competing in European football this year, and they were eliminated from the Carabao Cup in the second round after Postecoglou fielded a significantly changed lineup against Fulham. And it's known that managing one game a week is considerably easier than 2, or even 3 sometimes. As long as key players avoid significant injuries, Tottenham should be capable of keeping up with the league leaders. and it might be tempting to settle for a return to the Champions League, but their aspirations should be set even higher. Postecoglou isn't in danger of becoming complacent or letting standards slip. When asked about his impressive start in the Premier League, he reminded reporters, "It's going alright, but we're in October and we've still got a lot of work to do." After several years of uncertainty, the Spurs are finally on a promising trajectory once again. It's not too early to consider them as candidates for the top, even though the prevailing opinion is that Tottenham might struggle to maintain the position. But this skepticism is largely rooted in their recent track record. But their current standing is no fluke. Under Postecoglou's guidance, they've evolved from a team lacking confidence into arguably the most well-balanced side in the league. And as such, they should be regarded as genuine contenders for the title.